right, welcome back, everyone. Another episode of Strange Planet. And we decided we're going to take a little break off the politics and we're going to set that all aside because this is the first episode we're doing directly after the Super Bowl, which was a very, very interesting game. It was a very close game at that, too. And I am a fan of neither team, but I will say I was very happy to see that Mahomes got his second win, and he robbed it literally at pretty much the end. And yeah, the Eagles probably thought by half when they were up by 10 that this is looking pretty good. We got this one in the bag. And then, even despite his ankle injury there, he managed to get out of it. And Mahomes, like he always does in the second half, comes in way stronger than he does in the first half. And he killed it. He played a great game.
He played pretty flawlessly towards the end, and he only had one incomplete pass that he threw away. He was unstopped. He scored on every drive. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
And he basically was unstoppable. The Eagles were very good as well.
Right.
That run back, that Super Bowl record-setting run back was definitely, I think, the nail in the coffin for the Eagles. Like, that was such a momentum shift, that basically set them up for a victory. And I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I do like the team. It's taken me a while to get over the fact that Andy Reid used to be an Eagles coach, and since this is his second Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm starting to think of him more as the Chiefs coach. But as an Eagles hater, being a Giants fan, I really have to, I'm getting more used to him as not an Eagles coach. So it was good to see him take home a victory in red and white rather than green and white.
Right. And also, I am no Eagles fan whatsoever, but I will not deny that they had probably the best season ever this past season. Like, I was flabbergasted as to how well they really did. They showed pretty much no mercy going all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they almost took it. Let's be real.
They destroyed the Giants. It wasn't even a game. Their defense was just
Swiss
spectacular.
Cheese. Yeah.
Well, in the second half
the Giants,
of the Super Bowl. Well, yeah, no. I'm talking about the Eagles. In the second half of the Super Bowl, their defense kind of fell apart and their special teams. But throughout the whole season and especially in the playoffs, they really did a lot. And, their quarterback, too, is really good. I mean, he broke records as well. I mean, he had over 300 passing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, and a passing touchdown. He had a really good game too. But it was a very close game. It was a very good game.
It was, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah, you want to see a competitive game. Now, one thing that annoys me nowadays is people try to claim that, the NFL is rigged. It's like the WWE now.
Right.
Stop it. Just fucking stop. Your team lost.
Just get it.
They fucking lost. Back in the day, people used to complain about calls and the refs, but now, I don't know. America is so prone to bitching and moaning. I swear, Donald Trump may have lost in 2020, but his mentality is kind of seeped into America. Oh, it's a rigged system.
Yeah,
everyone wants to claim that everything's rigged now and everything's fixed, and the NFL's like the WWE, we just arrange things in advance, and ha ha ha. And it's it becomes a common joke that everyone jerks themselves off to. I'm sorry, but that's just not accurate. And even if it was, where's the proof?
Yeah,
where's
exactly.
the fucking proof?
And it's always the same story because it always happens when things don't go someone's way. So because they, their team lost, it must be rigged then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
So,
like, are you
so
fucking kidding me? Like,
at the end of the game, there was a call where Kansas City receiver, went out for the pass. Actually, it was the only incomplete pass that Mahomes threw in the second half, and the Eagles defender tugged on the jersey, and the pass sailed over the guy's head. It didn't look like it was going to be a completable pass unless, it could have been that the route was disrupted by the pole, because the Eagles defender actually admitted, and I think he was crying too on the sideline. Yeah, I think he was crying too, because he got called for the penalty that gave them the first down, that basically, gave them the game, set them up to go ahead. So, he tugged on the jersey. Like, he committed that, like, you're not allowed to do that. Now, people can say, oh, like, at the end of the football game, at the end of such an important game, you don't want to call, like, pass interference that maybe, didn't really have an impact on whether the receiver could catch it or not, or whatever. No. Like, that was a clear hold. Like, he was pulling on his jersey.
Yeah,
that's dude after the game admits he pulled on the jersey and hoped
there you go,
that
right?
the ref wouldn't see it, right? But no, people want to bitch and moan and complain that, oh, it's rigged, blah blah blah. I mean, like he tugged on the jersey. If he didn't tug on the jersey,
it wouldn't have been called.
Wouldn't have been called.
Exactly.
Okay? So I just don't understand. Like, I think it's a real problem in our society. Like, that whole Trump mentality of, okay, if we don't win, complain and bitch and moan that the system is rigged.
Exactly. It's like they can't accept it. I mean, there's no acceptance when you lose, or there's just bitching now, and that's all there is. You know what I mean? Or complaining, or it's rigged, and it's just ridiculous.
I mean, when it comes to sports, there's always the idea of, like, point shaving and shit like that for, like, betting purposes. So if you really want to see some kind of conspiracy, I would see what's going on in Vegas. You know what I'm saying?
The funny thing too, at least the Chiefs didn't have the kicker that the Cowboys had, huh? Or maybe that would have happened after all. You see that game a couple weeks back? He missed like 4 consecutive kicks, I think it was.
Well, actually, they did have a kicker who kind of fucked up.
Well, right, but not that bad.
To round out the Super Bowl real quick, it was good. It was a good Super Bowl because it was entertaining. It was a back and forth game. And the one thing I would like to point out is that this might be one of those kind of career-making games for Mahomes, playing injured against a really good team. With all that pressure in front of him, he rose to the occasion. So I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those classic moments when he becomes, like, super, super big.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton Manning has already said that, he's already had a Hall of Fame career. And when you look at it, he's been named MVP twice, Super Bowl MVP twice, and won 2 Super Bowls. That's more than most quarterbacks ever do.
Right, and he's still got a pretty decent long career ahead of him. So.
And he's only 27.
Yeah, so
like,
there's a big
Hall of Fame career, yes. I don't know if it's time to start talking about GOAT stats.
Yeah, it's too early. Way too
early.
No,
I'm not saying he's going to be the GOAT, but I'm saying
I'm saying, there's a lot of talk about GOATs, with LeBron getting the most points in the NBA in history, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And with Tom Brady retiring, obviously the best quarterback this league has ever seen.
Pretty much.
Clear GOAT there. But, people are ready to, name Mahomes the next GOAT. Now, does he have the potential to be? Sure, he's young enough. He has enough of a career ahead of him to be. He's going at a very, efficient rate to perhaps contend for that. But hold off. He's only 27.
Wait and see.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, this could be like one of those games where you start to see that. But I'm saying, like, it really depends on how he heals.
I'm talking about, there were people before he even won this Super Bowl were talking about how he's better than Tom Brady.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And he's a GOAT.
That's a little too much, a little too soon.
That's too much too soon. That is not a fair amount of pressure to put on a 26-year-old quarterback at this point in his career. Like let him
as a
have
player,
fun.
like he should have.
You know, let him play, and we'll see where he ends up. You know, in 5, maybe 10 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Time will tell when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, like hold on, like let him. You know.
I'm not saying he's the GOAT. I'm just saying
just let him get to another couple of Super Bowls, see how he performs over the next few seasons before we start throwing around that GOAT
label.
Title.
Yeah, like I hear you there.
Because that's really an unfair amount of pressure to put on someone like that.
Well, I'm not saying calling him the GOAT. I'm just saying. This is showing he's got the medal.
I wasn't saying that about you specifically. I was talking about. There were people that were
out there,
even before the Super Bowl, even before he won this Super Bowl, were throwing out his name as, replacing Tom Brady as the GOAT.
Yeah, like that soon.
Like, that's crazy.
Right. And like Brady just announced retirement too. So it's not like he's been out a while either. Like he just left now, and this guy just got his second win, and I think he's only been there 3 times I think so far, which is pretty good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's not GOAT material yet. You know what I mean? That's a title that's, time. That's your career.
I mean, it's a Hall of Fame career for sure, because not only has he been named Super Bowl MVP twice and MVP twice, and he broke like the MVP curse where like you could win MVP of the league and then you didn't win, the MVP, or you didn't win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I think the last person that did that was like Kurt Warner in 1999.
Wow.
So like he broke that so-called curse. Like he's had a Hall of Fame career already, and he's still very young. But
you just got to stay healthy.
Not even Tom Brady has been named, the MVP and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
So there are some statistics out there at this point in his career. He's definitely contesting Brady for that status. But I think what makes Brady great is not just, that he was unbeatable for a few years. He dominated an entire era of football. And
pretty much.
Even if the Patriots didn't win a particular year, they were always in the conversation. They were always, in
the playoffs, at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And going deep in the playoffs, and one
usually
out
get
of
to the Super Bowl.
1 out of every 2 years, basically, was a year that Tom Brady was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, shit. If it wasn't for Eli Manning, too, he probably would have had 2 more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we denied 2 Super Bowls by the narrowest of margins. So it's his dominance for such a long period of time that makes him the greatest. And if, let's say, Mahomes were to win the next 5 Super Bowls, that would tie him up. Kind of, that would tie Brady in terms of, I don't think this is going to happen because that doesn't really happen in football. But not even Brady was that crazy. But if you have 5 Super Bowls, right? You win 5 Super Bowls and then add them to the 2, and he ties them. This will be known as the Mahomes era. But then if he does nothing after that anymore, it's a different kind of greatness than the greatness that Tom Brady showed. Tom Brady showed greatness throughout a very long period of time, through his 20-year career. For 20 years, he dominated the football league. Whereas Mahomes wins the next 5 Super Bowls, he will have dominated, perhaps the last
almost decade. You figure
decade.
Yeah.
But it won't have as much longevity as Brady did.
Nah, you figure it's only half too.
And so you have a conversation about what's greater, dominating within a smaller period of time or dominating over a longer period of time. Now it's certainly 5 Super Bowls in whatever, or in a condensed span of years. That's very impressive. But also, winning throughout a 20-year period is also very impressive.
It is, even if you don't win every Super Bowl, you know what I mean? But the fact that not only did they got that far, but the fact that he did it that consistently too. 20 years, it's a long time to be able to pull that off,
Exactly. So, we'll see.
Right. And that's the end of this episode, everyone. New episodes of Strange Planet will be on YouTube every Friday. Until next week, peace.